It happened so quickly, yet so meaningfully that fans couldn't look away. It wasn't in the script. It wasn't rehearsed. And no one, not even the director, saw it coming. But when Chaeun-woo wrapped his arms around Moon Ga-young and didn't let go, the world stopped for just a second. It was real. It was raw. And it was unforgettable. The scene had already stirred emotions. They were standing under soft studio lights designed to mimic the glow of an early evening sun. Cameras were rolling. The air was filled with a quiet tension, the kind that comes not from lines in a script, but from two people who have grown close over time, whose emotions may have started to blur the boundaries of acting and real affection. Everyone expected them to say their lines, finish the moment, and move on. That was what the script called for. A glance, a parting smile, and a soft goodbye. But instead, as the moment built toward its scripted end, Chaeun-woo stepped forward, slowly, deliberately, and pulled Moon Ga-young into a hug that seemed to speak every unspoken feeling between them. What made it even more heart-stopping was how natural it looked, and how Moon Ga-young responded. She didn't pull away. She didn't appear startled. She just melted into the embrace as if it was the most familiar place in the world. For fans watching behind-the-scenes footage later or reading reports from staff, it became the hug that told 1,000 stories. It didn't take long for whispers to turn into full-blown theories. Was it really just acting? Had the chemistry that fans noticed for months finally overflowed into something real? Because when Eun-woo held her, it wasn't for a second or two. He held on like he was afraid she might vanish. His hands gently rested on her back. His face buried into her shoulder for a fleeting moment. And the cameras kept rolling, capturing what was no longer just a scene in a drama, but something real, something raw, something utterly spellbinding. The director didn't yell cut. Maybe he couldn't. Maybe he, too, was caught in the sincerity of the moment. Or maybe he knew, like everyone else watching, that something magical had just happened. Later on, the crew would reportedly discuss it among themselves. Some said it gave them chills. Others said they hadn't seen Eun-woo act like that before. And almost all agreed, that hug wasn't in the script. When Moon Ga-young finally stepped back, her eyes glistened ever so slightly. She smiled, not her character's smile, but something softer, something shy. And then she looked at Eun-woo in a way that no one could ignore. It wasn't a look of surprise. It was gratitude, familiarity, maybe even love. It was the look of someone who knew that moment had just exposed something deeper. Of course, for longtime fans of the Chaeun-woo and Moon Ga-young pairing, none of this was truly shocking. Since the beginning of their project together, they had shared a comfort on set that was impossible to ignore. Whether laughing between takes, whispering playfully when they thought no one was watching, or simply standing closer than needed, there was always something in the air between them. But this hug changed everything. It took their natural chemistry and transformed it into a statement. Not with words, but with action. And the internet responded exactly as you'd expect. Within hours of behind-the-scenes photos leaking from the set, fan accounts exploded with posts, edits, theories, and comments filled with heart emojis and exclamation marks. "I knew it," fans wrote. "That wasn't acting. That was real." Others began re-watching their old interviews, piecing together clues. The way Eun-woo always looked at Ga-young when she wasn't speaking, the way her laughter always seemed just a little louder when he was around, the way their hands brushed just a second too long. And then came the interviews. When Chaeun-woo was asked about that moment in a promotional sit-down just weeks later, he smiled, that now famous shy smile, and paused for a moment before answering. "Sometimes, the scene takes on a life of its own," he said softly. "You just follow what feels right." But his eyes gave away something more. He wasn't denying it. He wasn't dismissing it. And that only fueled the frenzy more. Moon Ga-young, for her part, was equally mysterious. When asked about the hug, she laughed gently and replied, "There are moments when you forget where the character ends and where you begin." Maybe that was one of those moments. Again, no denial, no awkward redirect. Just calm acceptance of a moment that had clearly affected both of them. From that point on, every interaction between them was under a microscope. On red carpets, when they posed together, fans noted how his hand always found the small of her back, not forcefully, just protectively. During interviews, when she struggled to find the right words, Eunwoo would gently finish her sentence or laugh alongside her, offering a glance of reassurance. They were, in every sense of the word, comfortable, and that comfort felt earned, built over time, layered with shared experiences and private memories. One stylist who worked on set later shared anonymously, "You could always feel something between them. It wasn't dramatic or loud. Just there. Like they understood each other without speaking." That kind of bond can't be faked. And fans knew it. The drama might have wrapped, but the story between Cha Eun-woo and Moon Ga-young seemed far from over. In fan meet events, even after the show's airing ended, their names would trend again and again. Every time they were in the same room, fans hoped for a repeat of that unscripted hug, a glimpse of the connection that once broke the internet. And sometimes, they gave it to them. A shared glance, a private smile, a whisper no microphone could pick up. It was always subtle, never overstated, but it spoke volumes. What makes this story even more touching is that neither Eun-woo nor Ga-young ever tried to leverage that moment for attention. They didn't play it up, didn't stage any fake PR stunts. If anything, they became more reserved. That only convinced fans more, because real feelings don't need to be performed. They started to be seen together outside of official appearances too, though always carefully. Fans spotted them leaving similar restaurants within minutes of each other. One lucky fan claimed they saw them walking side by side along the Han River, their masks pulled low, their heads slightly bowed, deeply engrossed in conversation. Were they dating? Neither said yes. Neither said no. But maybe they didn't need to. Maybe that hug had already answered everything. Sometimes silence speaks louder than confirmation. Sometimes a single moment, one that wasn't planned, wasn't rehearsed, wasn't even supposed to happen, becomes the loudest confession of all. The industry, too, took note. Directors began quietly whispering about how powerful the two of them were together, not just as co-stars, but as emotional anchors. One producer reportedly commented, "If you can get Cha Eun-woo and Moon Ga-young on another project together, you don't need a script, just let the camera roll." But deep down, what drew people most wasn't just the possibility of romance. It was the authenticity. The way one unexpected hug could shake the foundations of fandoms and create ripples across social media. The way it reminded people that in a world of rehearsed lines and polished performances, there can still be moments of truth. And maybe that's why we can't let go of it. Because he didn't let go. Because when Cha Eun-woo stepped forward and held Moon Ga-young like the world disappeared, it gave us something rare, the feeling that we were witnessing love in real time. Not a story written in a script, but one unfolding before our eyes. To this day, fans still talk about it. New viewers discovering the drama often stumble across the moment and feel it instantly. That hug lives on in compilations, edits, GIFs, and fan fiction. It lives on in hopes and dreams, in hashtags and comment sections. It lives on because it was real. And no matter what the future holds for Cha Eun-woo and Moon Ga-young, one thing is certain, that embrace, born out of instinct and emotion, will remain etched in the hearts of fans forever. Because sometimes, all it takes is one unscripted hug to change everything.